Here we go, episode 80 uploaded, coming at you here as we make our way to the third jewel of the Triple Crown. Still just under 3 weeks until we get to the Belmont Stakes. That's coming up. And that's probably where we start with our news today. And then I want to share something really, really fun and special with you here today. First, let's take a look at what's happening. Belmont Stakes is coming up June the 7th. It'll be a mile and a quarter, which is 10 furlongs, which will be run at Saratoga on June the 7th. News here that we've had a horse we thought was going to come to the Belmont, and we don't really care, but it is news. McAfee is out of the Belmont, going to go to the $500,000 Ohio Derby instead. You know, there's certain horses in certain races where I'm like, hey, that's your chance. And for me, getting value on McAfee was supposed to be in the Peter Pan. He wasn't good enough because he had all the stretch to put away horses to the inside and hold off Hill Road, and he could not. This horse moving on to the Ohio Derby, obviously depending upon what other horses line up in this race, McAfee's not going to be value now because he ran second in the Peter Pan, so he'll get bet. So there's no point in playing McAfee in the Ohio Derby, in my opinion. All right. So that is the news about the Belmont. But now I want to share something with you. As going to a Chris Walken, I want to share what I think is really key to not just getting value, but feeling comfortable with who you're playing. And it's all about your money riders. I shared one with you a week ago, Giovanni Franco. He'll be on this list, obviously. But I have 5 riders that they're kind of my go-to. That doesn't mean that I use them all the time. It just means that if the situation presents itself, right? And I have them, and I like the horse, and I like the conditions, I will bet more because of that rider, if that makes any sense. And so you have to have somebody where you're like, or even if it's coming down to the final leg of your pick 5, or you have a single in the sequence, right? Like there could be a really, really good horse that I should be singling in a sequence. But if there are certain jockeys that are riding that horse, I can't trust them. And we know, you know what I mean. I don't have to name names for you to know what I mean. You know there are certain riders you're like, man, what is he doing today? Or what is she doing today? What kind of a mood is this person in? Especially when you have veteran riders who you know can win a race with all due respect whenever they want to. But yet they come out there and they're winning one time in 25 mounts. Like the horses you're getting are not that bad. What is going on with you? Right? Like, the only person that I will mention, like, what the frick are you still doing, is Calvin Borel. Like, what are you doing? You won 3 Kentucky Derbies. What are you doing, bro? I don't understand any of it. Like, every time I see you listed on a horse, that horse has absolutely no shot. What are you doing? Hope he's okay. But that's kind of my point. Like, there are certain riders now you're like, can't mess with that. But let's keep it positive. There are certain riders I just feel great about every time they have a possibility. I want to share those with you today because I think you should have your own, and we'll talk about yours after this. Here we go. My top 5 money riders that I count on dang near every single time. Let's start. Number 1 on my list, Fernando Dela Cruz. Love this dude. Okay, so taking a look at the numbers for his career, 17,000 plus. He's won 2,500 races. He's in the top 3. Win, place, or show 41% of the time. I love that number. That means that his agent doing a great job getting him on mounts that are viable, and then Fernando's making good decisions and not running last the majority of the time. And then he's winning at 15%. That's average. That's good. If you can get to 20, that's fantastic. And it's really hard to do that on an overall basis. So at 15%, so what he does that I like so much is he's truly a difference maker. If you go back and watch races at the 2 tracks where he is, he's a force, right? He dominates at Horseshoe Indy. He dominates at Turfway Park, which is hard to do. And we know Luan Machado does a great job at Turfway, but Fernando does a great job there as well. He's able to ride the favorite and come through more often than not. And if he doesn't win with the favorite, he's in the mix. He's 1-2. And he's able to take price horses and come through when you least expect it. I can't even explain to you how many times I've needed him in the late double or the last race on the card, and he came through. He's just money. And when I've singled him, he comes through. That's huge. Can I trust you with the favorite? Fernando, I trust you with the favorite. No doubt, bro. Love that dude. He's my guy in the Midwest, right? Horseshoe Indy, Turfway Park. If he goes to the big days like Churchill Downs, big days, he can still get good mounts and make things happen. Just a really good, solid rider who kind of flies under the radar, and that's why you get enhanced value with Fernando de la Cruz. All right, number 2, you saw it in action about a week and a half ago. My man on the West Coast, Giovanni Franco. You can see he's a young rider, just recently got to 1,000 career victories. But what he's able to do with the limited mounts that he gets, I just think he's a difference maker in the decisions that he makes. If he's got a horse with speed, he's not a gunner, but he's going to be in the right spot. He's really, really slick about it, and I just like the way that he handles himself on the track. Does a great job with pressers, closers, stalkers. He had an exceptional job with our horse, Smooth Salute, in the race on the turf at Santa Anita about a week and a half ago. Last turning for home, gobbled up ground, got there, just barely won, got his nose down in time. He's a good rider. He deserves more graded stakes mounts. I never really know why trainers and owners, cozy up to certain riders and ignore other ones, and then they'll turn around and tell you, oh, well, they're all the same. They all can do the same thing. No, they can't. If they could, then they would all be winning at 15 and 20%. They would all be getting the same mounts. They're not. There's a difference. And Giovanni Franco is a difference maker. Check him at Santa Anita, but also look for him like sneaky little price horses throughout the meet at Del Mar. Just keep that in mind, all right? That's number 2 on the list. Number 3, so you have to have, where you have 2 guys that might be under the radar, Fernando de la Cruz and Giovanni Franco, you have to have a volume guy. A guy who's going to get 8 mounts a day if he wants them, and he's going to come through over half of them, right? And even in big days, big races, he's going to be right there. Luis Saez is my guy for that. It took me a while to like him because when you're in this game and you're playing against horses, for some strange reason, that morphs into you playing against that jockey. So the entire time that Maximum Security was running, I was trying to beat that horse. I wasn't convinced. So that's why I didn't bet that horse in the Derby, and I picked the biggest price in the field. I was like, I don't like Maximum Security. I think he can be had. Now, I was wrong. He's a tough horse. He was too strong. And then that day with the traffic and Luis Saez, and I was like, I don't think I like that guy. But then I started watching him. And not just watching him on the favorites, watching him on price horses, stakes race, claiming event, right? Turf allowance. And every single time that dude was making a difference. And my friend Matt Carruthers said, hey, nobody finishes better than him. So I started watching him finish. And I was like, oh my God, Matt's right. Luis Saez is a strong finisher. And if you don't believe he's a difference maker, look at what he did aboard Gosker in the Preakness. That horse has no business being up there, and that horse almost won the race. It took a superior, absolutely incredible and superior athlete in journalism to beat Gosker in the Preakness. And that's only because of Luis Saez. I guarantee you. He's incredible. And so if you want a volume guy, you've got options. You've got Pratt. You've got the Ortiz brothers, right? Guys that are going to ride 8, 9 mounts a day if they want to. And Luis Saez is right there. Volume guy, but he comes through. 17% winning percentage, 46% in the top 3. Key track from me for Luis Saez is Gulfstream Park. Love him there and I get value, all right? Next on the list. Because you've got to have guys that are just money, right? You've got to have guys that are money. John Velasquez is absolute money for me. I trust him on every single favorite I've ever seen him on. And if he loses, but it doesn't look like he's making a mistake. That's what I love about him. When I watch him, I don't see him getting trapped. I don't see him having to scramble to do something. Everything he does is smooth. And he's very stealth-like. Like I talked about before, how I'd be trying to beat him for years, and then I'd be like, wait a minute, who's up there on the front end? Johnny V, how did he get there? Like, he does things that are so smooth and so stealth-like. He'll cut to the inside. He's just a really, really smart, smooth, experienced, outstanding rider. And he's in his 50s and he's still winning races in bunches. And just watching him, he makes a difference. And that's how I know if a horse is any good or not. They put him on Sandman in the Preakness. And I'm like, if Sandman is ever going to win a race like this, he needs a rider like Johnny V. And John did a good job of keeping the horse connected to the field and then getting him out and letting him run. And the horse is just not good enough because John gave him the perfect ride like he always does. Never makes a bad decision. And he's still a volume guy, but he's selective in that volume. So that's why I really, really love him, because he's just someone I trust. And then you have to have a guy who is selective so that you know that when he shows up, he's not there just to be part of the gang. He's there because he thinks he can win. That guy is Michael Earl Smith. Mike Smith is one of my top 5 money riders. He's older now, and he's just selective. So when you see Mike pick up a mount, there has to be something with the horse that's good. Mike is just not out there to do this just for the heck of it. Sure, they all love to ride horses, but they're not going to risk their lives and their careers and their bodies for a horse that doesn't have anything going, especially when you're 55 years old. So when Mike chooses to do something, it's worth it, right? He talks about how Bob Baffert came to him and said, hey man, I got to bring you off the bench. I need you to ride Rodriguez. Mike's not going to ride Rodriguez if Rodriguez is not good, right? And of course, Mike wants to go back to New York where it all started for him. People forget, like 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, Mike was incredible. I mean, just ridiculously good. Broke his back, took him a while to get it back together. Then he moved out to Southern California. Took him a minute, and once he got it going, he's unstoppable. He's ridden some of the greatest horses that we've ever seen. And whether you have speed like Justify or you're a deep closer like Zenyatta and Giacomo, Mike can handle it beautifully. So now when I see him at Santa Anita and he's riding anything that's not a stakes race, I'm like, this horse must have something because Mike's not going to waste his time. And so I use these riders, their skills, as a barometer, right? To determine whether I want to use the horse, determine how I want to play the race, right? Determine a lot of things about where I place my bet. Some folks may not admit that they have money riders, but I know you do. Feel free to comment and let me know. Even if it's just one rider that you like, hey, that's my go-to man or woman, that every time I go to them, they do not let me down. Like, it's impossible to win every race, but you just want good, honest riding. You want to know, even if it's Paco Lopez, who's a troublemaker, right? But Paco's trying to win. So you're going to bet Paco. Irad Ortiz Jr. is trying to win. He's not trying to hurt anybody. If something happens to you, whatever. He's trying to win the race. I never have a problem with those guys that kind of make those dicey moves. They're a little aggressive. I'm like, I know you're just trying to win. And I trust that. Let me know who your money riders are, if there are more than one. And maybe someone that you think I have never seen before. I would love that. Like smaller tracks, have some people there that are not necessarily the leading rider, but it's a rider that gets good mounts, gets value, and is consistently competitive. That's what we want. All right, that's how we get into episode number 80 here on this Tuesday as we continue making our way to the third jewel of the Triple Crown. We'll talk more about the Belmont, probables, horses coming your way, and of course we have stakes races coming up this weekend. We'll jump into that later on. In the meantime, in between time, until next time, I'm Kenny Rudolph here on Horse Race Bets. We will see you later. Good luck and enjoy whatever you're into.